Hey, I'm Patrick Pallas, and I'm here on behalf of the National Conference of Bar Presidents, talking to leaders, business leaders, bar leaders, people across the country that are working in this COVID-19 era to both help the legal community and help those people that rely on us. And today, I have the good fortune of having joined me two people from the Legal Talk Network, Adam Camras, who is the CEO, and Laurence Colletti, who is the executive producer. And gentlemen, thank you for taking a few minutes today to check in. How are you? How are you holding up?
The boss has to go first.
No, go for it, Laurence.
I'm doing great. This is Laurence Colletti. Thank you for the opportunity here, Patrick. But yeah, doing okay. Just taking all of this one day at a time. And that's really kind of my emphasis, is that try to make the most out of each day, try to, stay healthy mentally and physically each day, and just do it one day at a time. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. And Adam, how about you? How is your family? How is your fitness?
Yeah, it's everyone is fortunately great. Certainly interesting times, and there's been a lot that's going on, which maybe we will discuss leading up to this. But everyone's doing well. My fitness is not as good as I like it to be, although I've made some pivots in that segment of my life to hopefully be a little bit more mindful and make sure that I'm holding myself accountable and doing better at it.
For those of you who have not seen the video of Adam wakeboarding, he is a monster out there on the wakeboard. So that's the question.
That is true. That is
so
true.
All of us have been making this pivot truly in the last month, 6 weeks, but everybody's done it a little bit differently. And I've asked a number of bar leaders about their firms and about their board of governors and how they're doing it. You guys are a little different because here you have the Legal Talk Network. And I'm curious to know how COVID affected you and what changes you've made to deal with the effect of this crisis. You want to start us off on that one?
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's Laurence and I will both be very polite to one another. So it's probably better if you call on us.
Point a finger.
Exactly. Point a finger. That'll be a little hard to tell which one you're pointing at, but we'll do our best to guess. Yeah. So we have a couple divisions to our parent company, Logical. We have a side of our business that is in litigation support and specifically service of process. So we have a network of trusted process servers and software to bring transparency to that side of the business. Essentially, law firms can see what their process servers are doing, GPS location, e-signed affidavits, and real-time status right there from the field. And we've actually got a unique perspective of data just in terms of what's been happening in legal, because on a traditional month, we have north of 150,000 lawsuits running through our platform. Wow. And this is nationwide because we've got a large footprint of, from the litigation analysis, and that's dropped off about 50%. Wow. Which is surprising that side of the business is still plugging away in some capacity, especially with a number of courts closing throughout the country. So that was a challenge, but we spent a lot of time pivoting that side of the business and putting on webinars and providing resources and tools for the industry to help keep them informed and educated and do what we could and still are to help them. We had incredible attendance to, north of 1,000 people to webinars in industries where, there's never been that many people assembled that size all in one place. And on the Legal Talk Network side, we've also really, the team stepped up and rallied. And, immediately when we saw this coming, and our last hurrah, it was funny. I was just talking about this yesterday. We were all together at ABA Tech Show. You recorded a bunch of episodes for us there. Right. And if you haven't checked those out yet, Patrick did a few phenomenal interviews on our show.
Great cross promo plug there. I love it.
On our show, On the Road on Legal Talk Network. Thanks, Laurence. So the first thing that we did is we launched a category section on Legal Talk Network. And if you go to legaltalknetwork.com, you can see COVID resources for lawyers. And then not only did our team step up, also so did our hosts. And they started creating really valuable episodes about the considerations that this audience should be thinking about in terms of running their firm and staying healthy and tools and technology and things that a number of firms, probably Patrick, you've been doing for years already, but there's a lot of firms that have never thought about these things. So that's the first thing that we did is we put that category section on, started creating very, very targeted, very specific episodes. And then the second thing that we did is Laurence on here, and we've been talking about doing this for a while, launched what we're calling a daily-ish show. It's called Legal Talk Today. And this is digestible, bite-sized episodes around 10 to 14 minutes that you can just get a snapshot 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And again, the topics that we're covering here are all hyper relevant and related to the topics that people are thinking and asking about right now.
You know what I love about that, and when I found out you were doing it, is I tend to listen to most of my podcasts from my truck when I'm driving around from place to place. And having a 15-minute show is perfect. That's me going home. That's me coming to work. That's me, whatever. And it's something satisfying about getting the whole thing done, right? It's not like putting in a 15-hour audio book and getting a 16th of one of the chapters, right, and feeling like what's going to happen or what's going on, right? I think it's brilliant. Let me ask you this, because I want to come back to talk about some of the shows you guys have made, and Laurence talked to you a little bit about these daily podcasts that you're doing. A lot of people will say in their companies, we're all safe, we're good, nobody has been infected, we haven't had to worry about those things, but everyone knows that there are companies being affected, and you're one of those companies. I'd love to hear about your experience with this. What's it like when COVID comes knocking on the door of your own company?
Is this one for me? Or,
yes, Adam,
okay,
that's for you.
Yeah, I'm actually, I would love to hear Laurence's perspective on this, but it was real. Look, we had one of our employees very early on get infected. He was on a ventilator, very much touch and go. We weren't sure if he was going to make it, and he almost didn't. And he was within a window where he potentially infected 4 of our colleagues, including my business partner. Fortunately, he didn't. He survived and came out of it and is out of the hospital, and making great progress and integrating back into the team. But we really took that as an opportunity to, one, the severity of this kicked in very, very quickly. And the importance, but 2, it was really, we need to make sure we're being mindful of our team and our wellness. So we just said, okay, top priority, our team and wellness. So we put in a bunch of interventions in terms of starting doing daily video huddles, checking in. This whole remote thing is really, from a technology perspective, not a big deal for us. We've been set up to do this, and we've always embraced modern and new technology. Our home office is in Colorado, so we have snow days, and you have to be prepared for these types of things. So it's not the technology, but the isolation piece is a very real one. And on top of that, you've now maybe got a spouse or a partner or a roommate that is sharing a wall with you. Your animals, we bring your animals to work is our policy, right. But not everybody did
mine
it.
Too, as you can see in the back here.
Yeah.
Every day is bring your animal to work day.
Yeah. So that was really the piece. And we spent a lot of time and still are spending time with, the daily huddles, weekly all hands, checking in and making sure that we are being super mindful of wellness and doing whatever we can and forcing the conversation and doing breakout rooms with our team so that nobody really wants to hear me talking about it, but we get our team together and let them huddle on these topics and check in on one another. So it got real, but it's also been a really exciting opportunity and challenge for us to step up and reimagine our business. And the core of that was our team and making sure that I'm really loving this increased communication. And not everybody loved it at the onset. Because like, oh, great, another meeting. Like, I need that. Like, what I need. But the feedback that we've gotten internally is that it's really helpful. It's great. And even if we get nothing done in the meeting, which we are, but just getting everybody together on video and getting that FaceTime, yes, so beneficial.
So Laurence, this is that question, like it's fun. COVID comes to where you work and the people that you know and care about. Do you feel safe? Is the company doing enough? Can you feel like you can work and do your job? I mean, how did you feel about all these things?
Do you want me to do earmuffs?
No, that's okay. No, Adam, I think you and I have been on these conversations together. Adam and I communicate quite a bit.
I'm sure.
We're kind of the road warriors of our team, and so we're frequently traveling, and we're always having to make some kind of adjustment. I'm permanently working remote, and so for me, the work remote part of it wasn't much of a concern, but my primary concern was trying to keep some normal within the company. We have a production line. We've got a lot of things that are in process at all times, and very specific deadlines that we have to hit, and sponsor agreements that we have to meet. And so I was really worried about that. I was also worried about our hosts, like what would they think? I mean, once we started seeing conferences shut down and the team sent off remote, I wanted to make sure that we could still transact business like we had always done. And so the first thing I did, I got out and sent an email to all of our hosts, an all points bulletin. Hey, everybody, like, we're going remote. We're going to be safely operating remotely, but we'll work with you with whatever you have. Don't worry about the sound sounding perfect. We just think it's really important to communicate. And then we started.
So transparency and security, two first things to take care of.
Yeah, and just start the communication up. And, our hosts had a lot of questions. There was a lot of follow-ups. And the other thing we needed to do is, some of our shows are about, 20 days into the next cycle, and we had to start pivoting on content. And so kind of counter to the grain, because we had so much to do and a lot of projects closing down, I got on social media. I wanted to see what people were looking for. And so the first thing was we need to start, bringing up these old episodes that are already produced that are still relevant today, talk with our hosts, get the recording schedule going, and then, go from there. So it was interesting. We definitely, jumped through some hoops to make it happen, but then we started writing. We started sharing articles from other people on working remote. We got up there, did a blog post, sent everybody there. Hey, everybody, I know everyone's freaking out about working remote, but here's a post talking about that with a Word doc or a Google doc on there that's got everybody's article on there. Share. Let's just get together and try to work this out together.
I have to imagine that when COVID comes to your workplace, that it gives you a perspective that even though you thought you could imagine it, you can't until it's real for you. And that perspective sounds like you used it and rolled it right into how do we create better content? How do we create a better company? How do we do this for real in this environment? And let me just roll that question again towards you, Laurence. One of the things that you did out of this was created this daily podcast where you have these shorter versions of topics. Tell me about that, maybe the origins of it and how successful it's been.
Well, I remember where I was sitting when I heard about this. So as all this, as things started to close down, I went and ran to the bank to get some cash during the day while it was still open. And so I was waiting in line, and Adam and Trent called me up, and I'm like, oh God, am I going to get canned? That's what I was thinking, because they both don't usually call me at the same time. I said, oh, they're doing cutbacks. I'm getting furloughed. And it wasn't the case. They said, hey, we really got to react to this. I mean, Adam and Trent were incredibly proactive on this, really been stellar leadership, just getting in front of everything. I know they've been up late at night because I see them ticking away at work in base camp. And so I know they're out doing stuff late at night. But they came up with this idea of doing a daily show, and we wanted to get something launched quick, but it had to be sustainable. And so the daily show is not in lieu of, it is on top of everything else that we're doing. And so we had to get this launched, and we're already working, 12, 14-hour days, as it is, when we're up at full tilt and everything, not including conferences. And so this was just something we were going to have to pile on, make work. And so we just started putting it together. But the idea was we want something that is immediately helpful to the legal profession right now, answer the questions they have, connect the dots for information. Let's be a useful portal of information for people out there that are struggling.
Let me just take a snapshot here a minute and maybe a pause and reflect backwards. You've been through this with COVID in your company. You've made big adjustments. You've created new programming. You've started doing your business differently. Give me a couple of takeaways for particularly people who are in bar leadership positions, people who are running companies, people who are trying to hold their bar together and give advice and help. Give me a couple of takeaways that you've learned from this process so far that you think bar leaders could use.
I think that's a boss question.
So I think the first thing is proactive communication. And again, we started with wellness of the team as our top priority. And our intent, and still was we didn't want to furlough, we didn't want to lay off, even though we warned the team that buckle up and, be mindful of your spending, cut back wherever you can. It is not our intent to have anyone's compensation change in any way, shape, or form, but that could come. And we don't really know where this is going. And with courts being closed, that jeopardizes a significant portion of our revenue stream and puts the food on the tables of our entire team. So, or the revenue from that side of the business, as does Legal Talk Network as well. So overly communicate and, internally focus on your team, and also really think through about who are your customers. And from the bar leader's perspective, I mean, those are your members, and it's never too late to do some housekeeping and house cleaning. And this is it's interesting because I hear from people that, and I'm shocked. I love the fact that they have this, but they're elated because their kids are home from college and they wouldn't normally have this time, the silver lining, and they're downloading all seasons of The Sopranos and watching Netflix, and they're bored. I'm just beside myself with that. And don't get me wrong, like, it's an incredible opportunity for those. We are not in that position. We are charging hard, working harder than we ever had in our entire life to come out of this thriving. Our first goal was survive, triage, and now we've transitioned to stabilize, and now we're thriving and looking for those opportunities. This is an incredible opportunity for every one of us. Don't get me wrong, this time sucks for all, and there's real death and real things happening. But from a bar leadership perspective, think about those things that your members need. And I love, and we have a lot of experience working with bars from the outside, from a creating content perspective, and we got a lot of inside baseball on bar leadership and bar operations. And we know there are many mandatory bars where their members are pretty pissed that they've got to be a member of this. And it's one of the things that we love about voluntary bars is that the members are there because they want to be there. You have created value for them. And don't get me wrong, there are a number of mandatory bars. We actually work with them that are very mindful about making mandatory bar memberships suck less, if that's even an opportunity. And really thinking about what are the needs, what can you be doing to help your members now, and what you've done in the past. Really be a mystery shopper in your bar and in your business, and figure out what is working. What's it like to be a customer of the bar, or a client of your firm? And if it's a bad experience, figure out why and fix it.
At the National Conference of Bar Presidents, we often ask bar presidents, like, how can we be relevant? Ask yourself, how can you be more relevant? How can you offer greater value to your members when you're a mandatory bar, when you're a voluntary bar? I love that, because with COVID-19, the old saying that a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. Every bar leader became incredibly relevant immediately, because all of our members needed us to give answers and to lead and to provide services. And you guys have also stepped up to the plate. I'm looking at your page of COVID-19, and I was just counting, and there's 15 shows, and I know that scratches the surface. I'm just paging down, but workers' comp and COVID-19, vaccine liability, an insider's guide, practicing law during COVID-19, data security, working remote, legal issues stemming from reopening your business, CARES Act, class actions. I mean, there's such a laundry list of really critical shows done by really smart hosts, that are many of which are practicing lawyers and in the know, that you guys have helped put together. I just think that is such an amazing act to have accomplished, and to continue pushing out exactly what everyone needs to have, and the information all of us need to be able to survive. How many episodes have you guys put together, you think, that touch on COVID-19 in one form or another since this thing began?
So I just wanted to actually say, and Laurence probably knows that number. I don't. There is a number. There's a number there, but on that topic, and I forgot to mention this, is yes, we are working very hard to create this content to help the industry, but one of the things that's different about us than most media companies is, most media companies that you have to register and you can only listen to that or read that on our site or it's behind a paywall. At Legal Talk Network, we are in a very unique position that the bars and the bar leaders and the thought leaders and organizations can actually take those episodes and make them their own. And what I mean by that is, if you, and Patrick, you're on that page, and I don't know if you want to do a screen share, maybe that's a little too much to do right now, but if you click on one of those episodes, so the one that is on the top of the page that was April 8th, coronavirus impact on claims and litigation, if you click on that actual episode, there's a little embed code on there. And if you copy that embed code, the bar communicators and organizations can paste that into their channel, into their blog, into their website, into their social media channels. They never have to leave their organization to consume that content. The benefit is they don't have to pay to create that content. We don't care where it lives as long as you're using our media player. And they can use this as a channel to provide and add value to their members just by going here, copying a link and pasting into their channel and writing, oh, here's an interesting episode on the CARES Act, stimulus and unemployment, and answer some of the questions that you have. You can listen to these and curate them, and then their members are getting the benefit of that content that the bar or organization isn't having to pay to create.
I think every bar leader should be looking at the work that you're doing at the Legal Talk Network and pushing out episodes to their leadership, to their members, highlighting some of the services that are talked about here. I mean, they're tutorials. It's the equivalent of the legal YouTube for how to survive COVID-19. It's right here. Load it up, push play, and there's your blueprint. I want to compliment both of you, particularly you, Laurence. You've done such a great job putting together this daily show. And it's called, is this the Legal Talk Today?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
okay.
is.
I haven't said the name right. Forgive me. Legal Talk Today is the daily show that you're doing. We're going to be running out of time here very quickly, and I want to be able to give people additional information. So tell me this, Laurence, when people want to get this information, want to find the website, they want to download these free podcasts, where do we go?
Okay, well, so that's easy. So probably the simplest, if you're not tech savvy, is to just go to our website, legaltalknetwork.com, and then just go to the podcast page. And at the top of every page on our website, you've got a little link that says COVID-19 resources for lawyers. And that brings you to 49. We've done 49 episodes to date since we started
Amazing.
this.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's it's a huge team effort, but we've got our host. We've got 29 shows on the network. Everybody's contributing. Our host did extra episodes this month to help everybody out. So they've been given of their own personal time. And this is while they're sweating it out, worried about their own personal businesses. Right. They just decide, you know what, it's time. We need to step up. And they volunteered, and that we've been getting some wonderful episodes from them. So it's a real team effort, but I'm really proud of that because it exemplifies just the excellence of our team and pulling together our hosts. And then, the other thing too, Patrick, and you were a guest on our show, which is coming up soon. We're going to be talking about workers' comp claims related to COVID with Patrick. He did an awesome job. But, we've been getting so many great suggestions from people out in social media, people reaching out and touching base with us that we haven't talked to in a while. It's wonderful to hear from everybody, but we're getting these wonderful ideas. I have to say, just as a lawyer, I am super proud of the profession. And I know that sometimes people say the industry is a little, kind of backwards in terms of technology, but I have seen across the country in all my conversations, the industry really step up and figure this problem out. And they do it together, and they do it while lending a hand. And even these people out there that are struggling and they're worried about paying their employees are like, hey, someone's got it worse than me. Is there some pro bono work or legal aid work I can do while I'm struggling? I mean, it's just unbelievable. So I got to just huge hat tip, a lot of respect for the industry right now. And I just really touches my heart to see that.
Agreed. Adam, I'm going to give you the last word here. Some would say that we spent all this time ramping up and pivoting to survive in this new environment. And I think that's true. But now we're coming down the other side, and there's going to be a new normal. We're never going back to what normal used to be. We're never going back to the jobs that existed 2 months ago. What does this new normal look like for Legal Talk Network? And and how, what do you have planned for our profession?
Well, that's a big question. And well, I think look, our mission is helping lawyers be better, and that always has been the case. And there's been some pillars behind that in terms of the quality education and quality production that goes on behind the scenes. We were already underway in terms of bringing our shows into the shop, as we call it, and putting them up on the jacks and figuring out how we can make them better. And we've pivoted. We're already transitioning to some more storytelling and more engaging episodes, and listening to the audience and their needs and what they're asking for and the feedback that we're getting from them. So that's the first thing. As far as the next normal or the new normal and the industry, we're just going to continue to try and add value to their lives and their careers and the profession. We've got a number of shows that are in the works already, and others that are being cultivated because of what's happened. And so I think the difference is we're not going to do a lot that is different outside of we're going to do it better and faster and more efficient, and we're going to alleviate the noise and really focus on those priorities and needle movers and make sure that we're leveraging the feedback and the knowledge that we're getting from our friends and peers and partners, and executing on that in a more efficient way.
I think it's so critical in the role that you play of helping bar leaders and legal professionals not recreate the wheel. I mean, you lay out blueprints, you lay out the top opinion makers, you bring us the people that are making change, the change agents, and you present them to us so that everybody can work faster and better and smarter and learn from each other. And I thank you. I think at the end of the day, as a bar leader and a former bar president, that having you in our world really makes a huge difference to helping us do our job better and take care of our constituents, our members that need us. And we couldn't do it without the kind of resources that you bring, and the fact that you bring it 49 shows, right, since this crisis began. Anyway,
that's in addition. There's still regular production that's going on as well.
Right.
Any semblance of how hard the team has been charging, and jumping on this to help.
Well, I want to thank you very much, both of you, Adam and Laurence, for taking time and shedding day, and keep up the good work. And thank you for all that you do. And above all, please stay safe and be healthy. Keep taking care of each other. Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick. So great. And so wonderful that you're doing this. I mean, this is another one of those examples of you're stepping up and you're doing what you can. And we all can do more. We all have something to give. And it's just, don't get me wrong, enjoy your binge watching on Netflix.
Yeah.
However, take a moment to think what more you can be doing to help not only your family, your firm, and the industry as a whole.
Perfect. Very good. Gentlemen, thank you. Be safe. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you, Patrick.
Bye, Patrick.